I'm going to show you a picture, and some of the people in it you will recognize and some you will not. So right there in the center of this picture, that's Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. You probably recognize him. Over there on the left is podcaster and Republican Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. You probably recognize him. And if you're thinking, wow, that looks like a really nice room, you're right. That's the library that belongs to billionaire Harlan Crow. Crow, of course, is the guy who paid the private boarding school tuition for Clarence Thomas's grandnephew. Also the guy who bought the house where Thomas's mother lives rent-free. He's the guy that's taken Thomas on all sorts of incredibly luxurious trips. And his library was used for the occasion to swear in this guy, someone you probably don't know. His name is James Ho, and he is being sworn into the federal judiciary by Justice Clarence Thomas in 2018 after being nominated by Donald Trump. Ho is a right-wing lawyer, Federalist Society-made man, if you will, who got a lifetime judicial appointment to the Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. And he's in the news now because of, well, a just execrable opinion that he wrote about the abortion pill, mifepristone. So it started yesterday. That's when that Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is probably the most right-wing appellate court in the country, upheld parts of an opinion by another right-wing judge in Texas, remember the guy in Amarillo, who tried to single-handedly take the abortion pill off all shelves nationwide everywhere through judicial fiat. Now, this case that has been working its way through the federal judiciary, one of the challenges for this lawsuit is that the plaintiffs who are suing, right, to get the drug taken off the shelves, they're a bunch of anti-abortion doctors, basically. And for them to have standing in federal court, right, to even get to an analysis of the merits of the case, they got to show that they have an injury. Like, what is the injury? What injury does a doctor have if a patient somewhere takes this abortion pill, or if the abortion pill is accessible broadly? It's a good question. Well, in an opinion written by Judge James Ho, that guy who's in the Harlan Crow Library with Clarence Thomas and Ted Cruz, that guy took a really bonkers position, writing, in his opinion, that the plaintiffs, these are the anti-abortion doctors, experience aesthetic injury. That's the grounds for standing. I'm not making this up. I didn't pull this out of the. I'm going to quote it here. Quote, unborn babies, you know what his politics are from that, unborn babies, what we call fetuses, are a source of profound joy for those who view them. Expectant parents eagerly share ultrasound photos with loved ones. Doctors delight in working with their unborn patients and experience an aesthetic injury when they are aborted. Yeah, again, I did not make this up. This is an actual judicial opinion published. He wrote that down, put it out in the world. As a legal matter, according to this judge, James Ho, every doctor has a legally cognizable interest in people making babies for them to look at as a matter of law. They suffer a legally actionable injury if you don't give them that. Your womb is there to make baby pictures and babies and fetuses for them. Pretty deranged. Now, ultimately, the other two hard-right judges on that three-judge panel didn't agree with that part of James Ho's decision, the most outrageous contention. Ho was writing sort of part dissent, part concurrence. But the three-judge panel, these three right-wing judges, they did buy a huge part of this anti-abortion lawsuit, this facially preposterous lawsuit. And they issued an opinion to massively roll back access to mifepristone back to the way it was in 2016, 7 years ago, before the FDA, that's the agency that actually makes decisions about this stuff and has some expertise on it, made the abortion pill easier to obtain. Now, nothing changes for now. The effects are stayed because it's going to go up to the Supreme Court. But again, like, what do you think the 6-3 Trump court's going to do with mifepristone? What do you think they're going to say? Think they're going to kick it on standing grounds, or are they going to find some standing for these anti-abortion doctors who incorporated right after Dobbs and filed this in Amarillo, where they knew they had another right-wing judge, and then it got kicked up to an appellate court full of other right-wing judges who think that there's an aesthetic injury if you use mifepristone because you're robbing the OBGYN of the joy of looking at your fetus. The thing to recognize is that none of these people or the circles of power they're enmeshed in, James Ho, Clarence Thomas, Ted Cruz, Harlan Crow, the Federalist Society, Donald Trump, the Republican Party, none of them will stop until every abortion is banned everywhere in this country in any form, surgical or medical. They're not going to stop unless they are completely and totally politically defeated, not once, not twice, but over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That is the only way to stop them. We're going to talk about that next.